This hearing will come to order. I welcome everyone to today's hearing to discuss the President's FY 2011 budget request. Today we will hear from two panels of witnesses representing the Army and the Air Force and the reserve components. The first panel will be the Army. Secretary Hansen, Secretary Kalkara, General Bruiser, General Carpenter, Mr. Snyder, thank you for coming today. General Carpenter, I'm always happy to see a fellow South Dakotan. We'll look forward to your testimony. Senator Hutchinson has asked me to let you know she has a conflict this morning and will not be able to attend this hearing, but I will submit her statement and questions for the record. The Army's FY 2011 budget request for active and reserve military construction and familial housing, BRAC, and overseas contingency operations is $7.9 billion. Included in this budget is a historically high funding request for the Armor Guard, $873.7 million. I commend the Army for investing so heavily in the Guard, and I hope it will bring the same commitment to the Army Reserve in future budget requests. This is also the final year to execute the 2005 BRAC program. I understand that the Army has several projects that could be at risk of missing the statutory deadline. I hope we will receive an update on the status of these projects. Last year, the subcommittee provided additional funding to expand the Homeowners Assistance Program, which I have a keen interest in. I hope that you will be able to update us on the progress of the program and let us know how well the funding is being executed. As the Secretary made a decision to terminate the temporary expansion of HEP on September 30, 2010, and if so, why?
Oh, okay. Yes, sir, as you know, when we started the program, we had a specific amount of resources that we were given to work across three elements of the program, one being BRAC, one being Wounded Warriors, one being PCS. Initially, to ensure that we had enough resources available for the BRAC migration, which would occur down the line, we set aside some funding for that. The remaining dollars allowed us to implement the program for the PCS, for the permanent change of station portion, on a one-year basis. As we have now got into the program and we are looking at affordability, it does appear that we will be able to extend it. Currently we have extended it through the calendar year, and depending on how much funding is available after we pay through those quarters, we would again continue it another year. That would be our approach. So I don't know as we would need legislation to do that. We have the flexibility in the program to do it without the legislation. We certainly would support it. It's always been our intent to cover as many PCS applications as we can. It's just we're trying to make sure we have enough money left for the BRAC portion, which is coming down the line in the next 18 months.
Secretary Hansen, energy security on bases is a major concern. What is the Army doing to protect critical mission assets from the threat of extended disruptions to the commercial grid, power grid?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Army has $98.7 million programmed in FY11 for installation facility energy security initiatives. For example, utilities modernization, advanced metering, renewable energy project development, comprehensive energy and water management, and energy security planning. That planning includes working very closely with the critical infrastructure protection people to ensure that we're putting a high priority on securing those facilities. on those portions of the facilities. In the Milcon area, for new construction, approximately 2% of the cost is devoted to energy efficiency additions, which address EPAC 2005 goals, plus the standard to design to LEED Silver. With restoration and modernization funding, we're incorporating metering for large projects and attempt where impossible to include other energy security initiatives, features such as motion sensor lights, solar street lights, LED lighting, and additional insulation. And with FIDA 12 to 17, this will be the first POM cycle in which we've been able to address comprehensively energy security initiatives identified in our newly approved Army Energy Security Implementation Strategy. So we'll have much more to come with FY12, sir.
Secretary Hansen, could you provide the committee with a list of potential unfunded ESIP projects that could be executed in FY11?
Yes, sir, we will.
Secretary Hansen, Army, like all of the services, has experienced large bid savings over the past few years due to competitive bid climate. What is the average percent of bid savings on the FY10 projects that have been awarded to date, and what has been the projected level of bid savings for the FY11 program if the bidding climate continues to be favorable?
I know we've had significant savings in some areas, but it's been somewhat erratic, sir. If I may defer to Mr. Calcara, I believe he has more detailed information on that.
Sir, we've currently executed about 40% of the program, and we're averaging anywhere between 10 and 25%, depending on the location. Savings, of course, are very centric to the market and the type of construction and where we are doing the work. I would tell you this: that I think if the current bid climate holds the way it has through the first 6 months of the year, we have two taxes that we are paying. One is a tax that came out of the FY10 appropriation. It's about $230 million, I believe, for the Army that we have to source out of that savings. The other one was dollars that were assessed to us from a gap analysis process that was done from the FY09 program. We owe about $160 million on that. So what we're trying to do is harvest the savings we have against the dollars we've captured so far to pay those two taxes, and then there would be some dollars left over. I know you're looking for a number from me. I think there will be some savings, but it will not be 10 or 15% of the total program amount because of those taxes.
I'm pleased now to welcome our second panel of witnesses. The Honorable Terry E. Yonkers, Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Installations, Environment, and Logistics. Ms. Kathleen I. Ferguson, Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Installations. Major General Patrick J. Mosio, Deputy Director, Air National Guard, and Major General David L. Cummins, Mobilization Assistant to the Chief of the Air Force Reserve. Thank you all for coming. We look forward to your testimony, and again, your full statements will be entered into the record. Secretary Yonkers, please proceed. Ms. Ferguson, what is the status of the Northern Group Housing Privatization Project, with especially a reference to Ellsworth Air Force Base?
Senator Johnson, we are very close to being able to begin the process to put this on the street. We have one more meeting that has to occur. Once that occurs, we will issue, our intent is to issue the notice of intent, the required notice of intent for solicitation to the Hill. That needs to be over here for 30 days, and then after that we would anticipate issuing the request for qualifications. We are hopeful that we will clear this last hurdle and be able to begin that within the next few weeks, and that will allow us to select an offeror as early as September with a closure in June of next year.